Good day, ladies and gentlemen, as they would say from down under Brisbane, Australia. Welcome to David Nair on Air. I understand this broadcast has been viewed by audiences across the globe, from here right through to India, UAE, South Africa, Spain, and Southeast Asian countries. I welcome each one of you to this presentation, and I should say to this discourse. Primarily, why I say that is I've got a fantastic lady. I'm going to introduce her shortly, but before that, let me just give you a brief about why we do this program and who is David Nair. David Nair is a key performance strategist, keynote speaker, author of a book, IXLY for Success. Ladies and gentlemen, my key purpose for bringing these sessions to you is to ensure I could create a mindset shift, a heart set shift, and a soul set shift in 1 million people across the globe. And we are in the process of doing that to provide a legacy of hope. And I look at hope from this perspective, HOPE, meaning help other people evolve in life. This weekly broadcast is brought to participants, at the request of participants, I should say, and my coachees around the globe, looking at how they could step up in life and create small shifts to generate big gains in life. Through the role modeling of some successful people across the globe, my team and I scout the world trying to give you the best of the best. As you know, in the last number of weeks, we've had key speakers from United Nations, people who are legal fraternity, people from the entrepreneurial skills, people from antiques, people from businesses. Today, we have a lady all the way from UAE originally. Her parents originated from Kerala. And this particular lady is a fantastic media personality. Let me just give you a brief about her before I introduce her on stage. The lady, in fact, is a host to a lot of media houses in UAE and India, a TV host in Media House, UAE and India, brand ambassador to 20 plus companies across the globe, model and voiceover specialist. She's also an actress, Miss Photogenic, Miss Congenial, Kerala, Miss India Culture. My God, the list goes on. Global best voice for Red FM. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Niiniin Kassim. Welcome aboard, Niiniin.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much. I just got flashes of memory when you were reading out of my.
I had to make a list, Niiniin, so I could sort of make sure I covered every aspect of it with you.
How are you?
I'm great. And what about yourself?
Good, going well. It's just another lazy Friday when I chill. Fridays are family days, right?
So right. That's right. In UAE, it's a holiday, right?
Correct. It's a holiday here.
Right. Hey, why don't we just start off by you introducing a little bit about your background, your story, and what brought you to the state of where you are today, so to speak, in a very quick nutshell.
So I'm born and raised in Dubai, and I think from childhood, I used to love talking in front of the mirror. I love acting. I'm a big Bollywood buff. You have no idea, David. Even when I have regular conversation with my friends, I would, bring references from movies, and they were like, "How do you even remember them?" I mean, don't you remember the dialogue of Shah Rukh Khan? Don't you remember the dialogue of Kajol? So a big movie buff. I would love talking in front of the mirror and dancing and acting. Pretty much being always on my toes, and that's how. That you will see now how I'll not give you a chance to talk.
Keep going. I'll just keep quiet for the next hour and a half or so, even 2 hours. But no, it's great to have you. What got you starting into, forget the media for now being, what got you starting into your career, your actual professional area of where you work, what you did prior to getting into the media?
So I'm currently working for the aviation industry. I have worked previously even for a bank and for a consultant. So I've been always on the go. I've always had a full-time job that that would always be a stable job for me. But my heart always lied with media. I love standing in front of the camera. When the red light goes on, I just get this adrenaline rush that I get so much of energy and so much of happiness when I'm standing in front of a crowd. So that's about my media life, and then how opportunities keeps coming in. Of when you venture into media as an MC, and then you get opportunities of a TV presenter, then it eventually got into modeling and voiceover. So one led to the other, David.
Right. I'm led to believe you started your media career very early in life. Well, you want to share some of the early stages of how you, by default, then good management, you rolled into media?
Oh yeah, it's a funny story actually. Because
Yeah.
it started off with, like, when you have, during school days, you've got these elocution competition, and
Uh-huh.
we all love competing with the houses, like the red house, the green and yellow. So it started off then when I forgot my elocution speech because it was given to me just 24 hours prior, and I had to basically talk about whether computer is good for us or not. So I was basically against it. I was against that.
Right.
Computer is really not good. You don't get to spend time with your family. Now I forgot the entire. So there's a structure to a speech that you give, but I went up on stage. I just got blank, and I just started speaking from my heart. I'm like, you know what? Computer is not good. You should not be on the computer for long. And my principal, who's looking at her eyes literally jumped out of the socket. And she's like, what is she talking? No, what is she talking? This is not what was prepared for the speech. And I'm like, do you guys agree with me or not? Tell me, girls. And some of my classmates, they connected to it because it was such simple colloquial English. And I'm like, you should not sit on the computer. It's not good for you. They're like, yes, it's not good for us. She is right. So after that, though I was literally reprimanded, I was shouted for not being prepared. But my folks, all my classmates, they were like, good job, man. I really agree with you. Computer is not so good. So it started off from there, actually, where I completely goofed up on stage. To a Malayalam channel that was broadcasted in Dubai, which was called Middle East Television. And I went for the audition. My mom took me there, and I was so not fit for the role. My Malayalam was pathetic. I would say it was pathetic. So I just went in my jeans and t-shirt. I was like, yeah, okay, because I was highly influenced by MTV and looking at Nikhil Chinappa. I'm a big fan of Nikhil Chinappa. And I'll be like, oh, and so they called me to the room and they said, all right, so here's a script. You just need to pretend as if you're doing a caller show, welcome yourself, introduce yourself, give a random number to call on, and we'll just have a pretentious caller and we'll see how you interact. So I'm like, fair enough. They're like, all right, at the count of three, 3, 2, 1. And I just bursted out into this energy of saying, hello, everyone. What's up? Welcome. Welcome to Music Class. The producers are like, who is she? Where is she from?
Where did she come from?
Yeah, and then they said, cut. Can you say that in Malayalam? And I'm like, suddenly all that confidence got crushed, and I still remember mumbling and fumbling for words. I'm not that I'm very proud of it. I just really bad, David. It was really bad.
Right.
I was like, Ende pere Bablu ane e number call cheyu. That means call on this number. It was that bad. Okay, my Malayalam is far better off now, but. Yeah, I did that, but I had full confidence, and I could see people smirking and laughing and saying, oh, what is she calling herself? Vijay Bablu. What's up with this? What's up, people? What's up with the attitude? Whereas everybody's like, everybody was speaking really fluent Malayalam, and, they were really interacting. And I was like this, odd one out. And they asked me, do you know how to speak Malayalam? I'm like, yeah, a little. Do you know how to read Malayalam? I'm like, no. Do you know how to write Malayalam? I'm like, no. The producer is like, go learn Malayalam and come, in a joking way. And I'm like, yeah, okay, not really liking it though. A 16-year-old typical, we don't want to hear anything negative. And that was it. The audition was done. After a couple of months, I got a call from the same channel saying that we have a program. It's called City Lights. It's covering up all the events taking place in Dubai. And we would like to call her on board. And my journey started off with the program called City Lights, which later on I went on producing it as well at a very young age of 16, 17. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you had no exposure plus no experience before you got into this. It's more by default that you rolled into it. Now, did you have a model? How did you go about trying to work understanding what needs to be done and not done on stage?
So I did have my producer on board. I mean, yes, watching other programs on other channels, and we do initially copy whom we like,
Mm-hmm.
till we
Mm-hmm.
somewhere find our own self and our own space.
Identity. Mm.
Yes, and then when you identify yourself and you're comfortable, that's when your true nature actually comes out there on the camera. So yes, a bit was, looking up at better MTV VJs or other channel VJs. And then it was even my producer who helped me through, who would, slowly tell me, try speaking a bit of Malayalam, or he would rehearse with me, like he would say, Ellarkum City Lights Lake Swagatham. And I would be in the like, Ellarkum, what? Ella? I would not even get it right. So we'd say, practice it again and again, till I got like, Ellarkum City Lights Lake Swagatham. So it was just very, very small bits and pieces where I would try to improve myself, in terms of when he'd say, why don't you go and, look up about a certain venue that we're going to, or the theme that we are going to cover up today. He did sense in the beginning where he would do it for me in the beginning, like he would go and find out the venue, speak to the owner of that place, or the, let's say a CEO if you're going to interview. He saw me getting too comfortable, that I'm only holding the mic, and when I'm asked to interview, I go up and I interview. Suddenly he said, why don't you go up and ask him? I said, no, why should I ask him? No, I can't do that. And he's like, it's your channel, right? It's your program. You go and do it. And so it's his initial pushes, people just pushing you a little bit, so you go and explore, and you become the version who you are today. So I would go up to the I still remember going to Gitex, and when you have stalls of HP or Samsung, and I'm like, hi, I want to shoot here. And he's like, well, I'm speaking to the CEO or the managing director, or the director of sales over there. And he's like, okay. And I said, I want to shoot here and I want to cover up what's happening here. And then he would be like, how old are you? I said, I'm 16 years old. He's like, you can shoot this, exhibition as much as you want, young lady. So it's, I had to improvise myself. Then, when you get hold of it and you get a little more confident, then you know how to conduct yourself. You ask them in a much better way, in a more polished manner. And I would just say I'm evolving and growing and improving every single day. And keeping that mindset really helps.
You see a couple of key points you brought out, which is vital, and I want the audience to sort of pick this up too, because it's more learning also for them. There are many people out there who lack the confidence and are looking at how they can role model a lot of people. You look for a role model, and the role model didn't feed you constantly. They gave you certain information and then pushed you into the swimming pool to go swim.
True.
Right. Now, but then one of the things that you repeatedly mentioned was practice, practice, practice. How much of practice did you actually do off stage to actually master that skill?
So I still goof up even now, David. Even now, when I go on stage, I still do get nervous, and it's okay. Right. It's okay to get nervous. I think let's look at it in this way, that we are getting. At least I get nervous is because I want to give it my best. I want to hear everyone applauding. I want to hear all those compliments. I want to feel good about myself. So that's where that nervousness comes from. That I want to do it well.
Yes.
Secondly, I have noticed that, at least with me, when you can give me as much as information as you can, I can prep, but I'm always better off impromptu. I feel when you speak from your heart, you can connect to your audience much better.
Exactly.
Rather than looking at a paper and just reading out a lot of quotes or stories. I think people connect to people, and conversations from the heart touches them more.
Yeah, that's where the connect happens. And I like when you said, the point of actually role modeling, but more than that, you had the experience of working with someone. To me, that is the key essential to growth. Okay. There's a person called, I don't know if you've heard of Judy Garland. Now she, even after doing La Cabaret, close to 600 shows, live shows, which is over 2.5 years it was, she's still at the last event, she was telling that when the news agents came, newspaper reporters came up to the front, they were asking her, are you still nervous? How did you go through? And she said, yes. even today, after 25 years of experience on stage, I am nervous. But she made this comment, which always stuck in my mind, and I tell a lot of my participants is, that nervousness, she explained, is different to the nervousness I had when I first started. When I first started, I had butterflies in my stomach and they went in every direction. But today, I am nervous, but I control the butterflies to go in one direction that I want.
Nice, interesting.
Action that I'm coming out is in a controlled, well-balanced manner because I have done what you just mentioned, role model, practice to get on stage. Now, that stage, where else did you move on from there? How did you move up to the next step?
So from presenting television programs, I went on to then modeling came along. I had walked the ramp. In fact, I should even say that we had a Dubai Fashion League where we had we had married women walking the ramp, where they wanted to say that just because you're married doesn't mean that now you're up you're on the shelf, life is over, everything is done, all you need to do is raise your children and move ahead. Life stops there, your dreams are all shattered. No. So that was very interesting, and it didn't matter. Actually, I'm a healthy girl, so it's the size really didn't matter. We had really fit moms, and even moms who were on the healthier side. It was just celebrating married women, and draping saris and just celebrating womanhood. From there, even I went on to acting in short films, serial, Malayalam, very famous Malayalam serial, television serial that was more than 300 episodes. I was the main lead. And then I did a very well-known movie called Diamond Necklace that was directed by Lal Jose sir. And I think I was the annoying, the furious banker who was shouting at the lead role, the hero called Fahad Fasil. So I think I was, at that time, it was a coincidence that I just got my job with my bank, with Bank of Baroda. At that time I was with. And when customers would walk in, they'd be like, aren't you the same bank in that movie?
Yeah.
You're still here too? There's no difference in that woman on the screen. You're still the same person. I said, yes. I said, it was very close to my heart. That's just who I am.
Right. Hey, I want to ask you, how much of an influence did mom and dad play in that infant role coming through into the acting phase? In each of those areas, what was the influence factor for your mom, especially your mom, I'm led to believe?
Yes. So my family, they are extremely supportive of, I mean, ever since childhood, whether be it not just me, but we are actually four, and all of us, whatever we've achieved in our life, even the smallest thing was always celebrated and appreciated, and made a big deal. I think that really boosted a lot of our confidence and gave us the belief that we can do it if we set our mind to it. And it was my mom who actually pushed me to get into television. Otherwise, trust me, I was just looking at the television, just daydreaming and talking in front of the mirror. I think probably she picked it up from there, because there was this broken mic in our house, and I would always hold that mic and pretend I'm singing songs, and just sing along when the song is going on. I think she picked it up from there and she pushed me. In fact, I should say something, David, that when my first episode went on air, and I remember receiving, we have that fan mail and fan box. There's
yes.
We get to hear reviews of shows, and people write in to the channel. So I so vividly remember this. So my friend, my colleague who was with me, she received a letter, and she's an amazing presenter, and she got really a lot of good compliments that she's doing really well. And I'm like, okay. I said, read mine, tell me what's written in there for me. And here was a letter that was written that who is this girl? Oh, she speaks Hindi, she speaks English on a Malayalam channel, where she's supposed to speak in Malayalam, and even her Malayalam is so bad. And she should not be presenting shows. And I still remember, see, I'm getting so emotional. I just remember that I told her, I said, okay, I'll call you back. Thank you for the info. And I put the phone down and I went straight at my mom. And my mom was on another call. I walked in and I said, why did you do this to me? Well, you know, because a typical 16-year-old girl throwing a fit. You know, saying that because, you know, you want to be liked at that age. You want to be accepted
Yes.
by everyone. And I'm like, why did you push me into this? See, now they don't like me. I'm going through such a horrible feel. I don't want to do all this television program and everything. And my mom was like, she like, just 1 second, I'll call you back. She puts the phone. She's like, what's the problem? I said, Mama, see, this they wrote like this on a letter. This is what they wrote, that I'm not a good presenter. I speak Malayalam and English and Hindi, and my Malayalam is pathetic and blah, blah, blah. I don't want to do the show anymore. And she said, okay, what, if that's what they said, then show them how it's done. I said, what do you mean? And she'd like, set a trend. You be the first one who speaks Malayalam,
Yes.
who speaks English, who speaks, you know, Hindi or whatever language it comes to you, as long as you're able to communicate clearly,
Right.
able to entertain your audience, it's fine. You will, you will have such type of people telling you things, but you can't just give up every single time you hear a negative comment. You need to go and prove your point, show them how it's done. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. She's like, no, you have to show them. You're my daughter. You have to show them how it's done. And I think that was the first and the most important lesson that I have with me, that yeah, just there will be people who don't like you. Obviously,
Yes.
there are people who will like you also, but just because few of them don't like you or don't accept your work doesn't mean you're bad or you're wrong. It's okay, but still continue to do what you're doing. It should not, it will dishearten you. You will feel discouraged. It's okay. Be in that lull moment, dwell in it for some time, but snap out of it. And then you say, okay, you know what? Now I'll show you. It's a path that's not walked. I'll show you now how it's going to be done. And yeah, today.
And it's interesting for you to say that, because you know in in behavioral psych terms we talk about anchoring, and what you have done is actually hereafter from that particular instance anchored on the particular situation that your mom kept talking about. Be a trendsetter. Be a trendsetter. So in all the future shows that you took thereafter, you use that as a standard to work forward from. But my question to you is, how did you get from there to this multiple media opportunities that was flowing into you? What did you do to attract that to you?
Oh, trust me, David, I think your work speaks for itself. I
Right.
was approached by, it started off with Emirates Airlines, you know, hosting. It was just one after the other. I think your work clearly speaks for itself. If you do a good job, you're sincere, you know, you do your, like I say, your preparations.
That's
Companies
right.
will approach you to come and host shows. You know, it's word of mouth. At that time, we didn't have social media. We
Right.
didn't have all this Facebook where you can get famous or known much more faster. Speed is so much more fast. I mean, I still have my episodes recorded and kept in VHS. It's sitting in a
Oh,
carton.
wow.
It's just dusted. I mean, if I have to show my son my work, it is really nothing much that I can show off. But yes, it was just companies calling me, asking them to do their corporate shows, or it was their launch products, or it was doing a fashion show when Sapple perfumes had to launch themselves. It was done in, I still remember, it was in Indian Social Center in Abu Dhabi, and they said, we just want a fashion show where we would like to launch our Sapple perfumes and deodorants and body sprays. And I just did it. I get amazed at how at the age of 16, 17, 18, how did I even pull it off? But I think I just didn't think too much. You know, when you
Right.
think a lot, oh, what will they think, or what would, can I do it, can I not? I think I just went and did it. You know, if you ask me, Niiniin, can you climb that? Can you do that? I'll say, yes, I can do it. I just have it. Yes, I can do it. Now, how I figure it out, that's my problem. But it's never a no. I'm like, yes, I can do it.
Niiniin, with that in mind, I just want to go back a little bit, backtrack a bit. What are some of your practices that you do to get this level of confidence in you and to get this constant belief factor to say, man, I can do it, yeah? What do you do to yourself to get that to that state?
I talk a lot to myself, which I said
To
I talk a
yourself
lot
in
in
the
front
mirror?
in the mirror. In the mirror,
Right.
trust me, because what happens is when you stand in front of the mirror, you are able to control your expressions. Maybe I'll even record it, now, because I will keep the mobile and see, oh, that place I didn't sound that good, my voice pitch
Mm.
was a little too high. You just be your self critique, and then you're like, okay, maybe I should stand this way. Even in terms of dressing wise, in that way, I'm like, yeah, this dress is much better, because let's say if you're wearing an Indian attire,
Mm.
it's very nitty gritty things. He's like, okay, I think I should make sure that I'm pinned on my shoulders here and everything, so I can walk comfortably, or each. So the more comfortable you get, the more you prepare, from your hair to your makeup to the way you stand, how you should stand, how should you hold your placard, what are the angles. So reaching at the venue is very, much earlier in time, gives you some time to just feel the place and just to get relaxed when you do your voice testing, and when people are slowly walking in, try interacting with them, because it's natural to feel nervous. Yes.
Yes.
So when you come in that hurry burry of just like probably 15 minutes before the show, you could be just taken by all that pressure, that because everybody's like, okay, let's start quick, you don't get a minute to breathe.
Mm.
One thing that I religiously do is I reach at least an hour
Mm.
before the venue, when the hall is completely empty. So
Right.
it's pin drop silence, and you only have the DJ guy who's sitting there and trying to do the sound testing and everything. At that time I just get a feel of the place. I just interact. I place my papers. I adjust my mic, and then I just take a minute to pray. Even now,
Mm.
if you saw, I took a minute.
Yes.
That
Yes.
is religious for me. I'll just take that minute to pray, and I'll just say, okay, God, just take care of me. I just make sure the show becomes a super hit. Okay, I love you so much. Okay, bye. just, I'll just go. And I do
Right.
that religiously. I'll just say, give me 1 minute. I'll just say, give me 1 minute. Even now, at the end time, you can ask any of my producers. I'll just say, just give me 1 minute. I'll just disappear for 1 minute, go to some corner, do my prayers, and just come back. And
Right.
I get my strength from there. I
That's
do.
That's really powerful because I relate to when you say I get to a show or get to an event an hour. Now I do that in every event that I get to. Only of recent times that I find some of the people that I work with, they come in on the
Mm.
sometimes within 5 minutes and they rush and try to get things done. In some cases, hair not done. They're trying to talk, and it's a total mess. It at least takes 10 to 15 minutes for the whole show to settle down before you can
Sure.
even try and connect with the audience. It's a
True.
pity because it must be the old age or whatever it is. I come from a vintage where you got to go ahead, you got to prepare. It's preparedness that gives you the opportunity to grow further. And I'm comfortable to hear you say that because there's a lot of audience out there, particularly in our age where we are in the digital age. We need to get that preparation in place, not just mentally, not knowing
Yeah.
content, but actually psyching ourselves in that environment
Correct.
for
Correct.
out.
Because
That's
not
really good.
everybody need be, because it's because you know yourself so well, right, David?
Yeah.
See, not everyone is good with impromptu. Some
Hmm.
people can get like, you'll just get blank and you're like, okay, now what to do? It's a funny experience, but I was hosting a show. See, and suddenly what happened was, I had to, now we have the guests on stage. Okay, we are having
Right.
the welcome speech. Okay, the felicitation and everything going on, and one of the guests was a very well known RJ at that time, and we don't know who had the remote to the curtain, that when I had to introduce her, okay, so I'm like, RJ so and so, please give a round of applause. And the
Right.
curtain gets shut. Imagine that is so humiliating, because you only shut the curtain when the program is over.
Yes.
Imagine
Exactly.
just starting the program, and we were like, oh God, who has a remote? You got to think fast. I'm like, all right, guys, because she's an RJ, just for you to recognize her by her voice. Why don't you say something? And she said, like, no, she was doing some good morning show. She had a signature way of introducing herself, and then eventually everybody's like fighting for the remote to open the curtain out, and the curtain got open. Obviously everything went okay from there, but later on the organizers came very hard on us, saying that, who did this? Who shut the curtain? And I said, I don't know. So it's, even after being very prepared yourself,
Yes.
mishaps can happen. I think at that time it's the presence of mind and God's mercy.
Exactly.
Seriously, 5 years.
That's it. The clarity of mind helps you make decisions. In case there are some challenges that crop up, you have clear mind to do that.
True.
If mind is not clear with that serenity before you start, you'd be in a total mess, basically.
You will
And
be carried with the whole program then. You wouldn't be able to sit
yes,
down and relax. Yes.
exactly. Interesting. See, with your career, you actually are a professional in a job type situation, and then you've got this media. You've got two there. I've not even touched your family part yet. How balance these two components?
Oh my God, David, you have no idea. I have, it's like this. I would go for my morning shift of from 6 to 2, all suited up, going to Dubai airport, jacket, and you know how prim and proper at the airport we are. And I'm like, good morning, everyone. Hello. You finish your 6 to 2 shift, and you're off. You're off straight to the shoot location. And you're there, and then there you pull out your jeans jacket, your hair all goes crazy, and you are like, hello everyone, you are over the top. It's like living two, like a split personality or something. I would say yes. I would come back very late in the night because I would shoot at least minimum 6 to 7 episodes so that we have episodes in stock, and plus I don't need to go regularly to shoot my television programs. But I have missed out on certain celebrations with family, or those moments, or how a typical 16-20-year-old girl wants to do at that age, hang out with her friends, go party out. I probably didn't get to do that, though I had a lot of fun in my media because I'm getting to see a lot more, the meeting different people from various walks of life. But I was happy, and my family supported that, and I think that's what they would want to see, that your family wants to always see you happy. As long as you're safe and happy, nothing else, everything can take a backseat. So they saw me thriving and being at my best version of myself. So they were extremely supportive of it. My mom would always send my brothers. So he would always pull my trolley bag, which had all my costumes, which I could change. And, I would just buy him a free burger or something, and he would be okay. He would enjoy himself, calling himself, we are press. I remember him, my youngest brother, who would say, we are press. And and he would just get that easy accent. Oh yes, you're press. So it's always, I've always enjoyed. It has never been tiring for me. Though imagine doing 6 to 2, and then you finish, you reach the venue by 4 o'clock in the evening, and then you shoot again till 11 o'clock. I have never said, oh, I'm so tired of this. I would have all the energy. Anytime if it comes to shooting in front of the camera, I've had all the energy. I never get tired. In fact, my family knows that. I never get tired. They have to force me to sleep. Can you just sleep? You don't sleep. I said, no, I want to do this and I want to do that. So I'm always on my toes. And I love my life this way. I don't want it any other way. So, yeah.
That's good.
It's all about the love of the work. If you love your work, it doesn't become work then, right?
Exactly. The passion just flows in, and I have a philosophy where, when it's work, it's stuck up here. But when it moves from here to the heart, the whole situation turns. But I tell you what, when it gets to the guts, and I spell it GUTS, genuine urge to succeed, that rolls out automatically, and it's seen, you're showing that your passion is showing it. You live your passion and your purpose. That's fabulous. What about social stigma? Getting into an industry, which probably is acceptable, partially not acceptable, but how did you cope with it?
So my family members, they have been extremely supportive of it. I mean, as I told you that it was my mom who took me for the audition when that Malayalam channel launched, and she would always send my sibling along with me whenever we had shoots, or she would accompany me if she could. If you're from any regular simple family, David, and I would say most of all my cousins or my brother-in-laws or my relatives, they all are engineers. I think I'm the only one who's not an engineer. Yes, everybody. I was not that academically brilliant. So, but yeah, getting into media, I was the first. I was one of the first person who got into media, and it was, you have people who like media and who really don't like media, who don't like to get associated with it. So I did have my extended family members, one or two, who probably had that were not so pro of me joining media, because see, it's again, it's something that nobody has done. And
Right.
you get to hear
Exactly.
so many things from people, or you read from magazines, and you kind of build your perception about it. And I think once I we had we I very well remember where people were worried about their social statuses in terms of will their children get marriage proposals. But
Mm.
that is then, today they are my biggest supporters. They
Yes.
love the work I do. They
Mm-hmm.
encourage me, because now everybody is, they've grown and they've settled abroad. They are the first ones to like or to comment on my picture or on my post saying, "Well done, Bablu. We are really proud of you." Oh, way
Right.
to go. That's my cousin. So that's good. See, that when they came to know that how, it's not as bad as we thought, or she's really done well for herself, and it's really cool. So that as long as you have that open mind and you're willing to accept and move and change that perception, I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a winner, right? We won the battle.
Obviously, yeah, that's really good. That's really good. While we go to that, what is your biggest challenge? I'm still in the media area. What's your biggest challenge that you would have encountered as you went through the phase of getting more interaction with people, getting media, getting acting jobs, and then you had your corporate career, and obviously your family component. So, what is your biggest challenge that you encountered so far?
um I would say my biggest challenge in that would be, maybe there would be times when you would want to completely invest yourself into what you love the most.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm very clear on where I want to be. Yeah.
Yes.
I know I belong to the media world. I know my brain thinks much better creatively rather than if you ask me to crunch numbers. So,
Mm-hmm.
but what happens, David, is that when if if your passion if your passion cannot put food on the table, then you really need to revisit that.
Yes.
And you would really need to what do you say, maneuver things that where you don't really need to completely shut it away,
Right.
where you're able to at least have a full-time job, where you're able to fulfill your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Alongside that, whenever you get time, you make out time, yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
you follow your passion. It's not just about being hosting shows in television. It could be even about painting or baking or cooking, whatever that your heart really, where your heart lies.
Right.
And so that would be my only challenge per se, because um, apart from that, I think being balancing these two, I'm still blessed to get opportunities, and I'm still very blessed that I'm able to make time for it. We
Right.
have a son. I'm a mom. I have a 5-year-old son. I just make sure I give time. I make sure I just place it in such a way that you're like, okay, if I didn't spend time today with my son, tomorrow Friday, like, I know I'm going to be doing this interview today with you. I made sure I played with my son. We painted, we were making paper lanterns and everything. And so that, and now I said, okay, now it's your TV time, because
Right.
Mama's going to be doing this live interview. So then
Yes.
somewhere it's not probably not to satisfy my guilt or anything like that, but I think it's all about placement. Yeah. How the coping mechanisms that in fact
Exactly.
Louis says,
Hmm.
how you delegate things. Like, I would tell my
Hmm.
mom, could you please drop Adam to his karate classes, because we are working from home now. I said, because I need to finish this work. I need to submit this quote at this time. So I think it's all about how you manage, and
Right.
the more support you have, the better and easier that journey becomes.
Excellent. Powerful. Um, Let me just address an area of your family that I wanted to touch on as much as we can. From a single mom, would you like to share your journey of how you coped with the mechanisms that were put in place?
So that was Oh, that was a complete 360 degrees change, David. I would say that being a typical, as I told you, a complete movie buff, I was in my dreamland of, oh, I'm going to wear chiffon saris and run around the mountains, sing romantic songs when my husband just walks in. Call it being naive or stupid or gullible. I have no idea, but I was in my dreamland, very, very happy there, waiting for my hero to
Prince
come.
Charming.
Yeah, my prince there. We say knight in shining, Prince Charming to come. It didn't really happen that way. Um, I did get married, and my marriage just lasted for like 2 years. My 30th birthday, which I really thought it's my 30th birthday. It's going to be a bang. It's going to be a big bang. We're going to have a big celebration. Sadly, it wasn't the bang like how I wanted it to be. It was not a big. It was when I got actually divorced also the same year. So Adam was just 3 or 4 months.
3. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a very, very difficult, painful, and confusing journey. Because
Right.
what happens is when you are when you get married, and as any typical couple would dream of, we would be like, okay, we have to save money, we want to build a house in India,
House.
we
Yeah.
have children and you want to raise them well, and then you have a retirement life where you go back to India and live in that house which you have built with your hard-earned money. Suddenly when everything changes, you are blank, because all that, what happens to that castle that you've built in the air, just it's crumpled down. You have
Yeah.
no clue about what's ahead of you. I'm not able to connect to my son. I don't understand what's happening. You're just blank. You're just completely blank. You just don't know what's happening to you. I'm here. I'm the girl who's like, when you see these Hindi movies, oh, when the baby is born, the mother and the baby just connects. Have you seen Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum? Jaya Bachchan knows when Shah Rukh Khan lands. She just turns, like, ah. She just turns and smiles. And here I am with a kid when I'm like, okay, I don't eat or you don't eat, doesn't matter. I don't know what's happening. This is not the way we saw it in movies.
I know.
Or usually with how we see, mother and children connecting and being like this one unit. I don't feel anything, and when I would want to go, when I would go and hang out with my cousins or with my friends, they would be like, "Oh wow, Niiniin, you are such a cool mom. I don't see you paranoid like other moms, who keep on checking on their child." And then I'll be like thinking, "Oh, am I supposed to be like that? Am I supposed to call 100 times and check? Is my son eaten? Has my son pooped? Has my son been changed?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't feel anything great about it. Okay, so what's the big deal?" I mean, yes, I have my mom who's there to look after, but I would not even call. And even my mom would make it a point to ask me, like, "You didn't even call once to check on your son." I'm like, "Yeah, you are there, no?" So that way. And my mom would be like amazed. She's like, "I'm amazed by the way you react." I'm like, "I don't understand. Am I not supposed to have fun? I mean, does it mean that if I'm a mom now, I should give up everything? I mean, I'm still a girl. I'm a woman who wants to hang out with her friends. Am I supposed to sacrifice everything for my child?" And my mom would say, "Yes, you gave birth to this child. This child needs your time and love and warmth." So I would sit with my child, and I would be like, "What? Oh, I don't know what's happening." But David, I would tell you the 6 months when Adam was 6 months. I still remember when he was 6 months and we were playing. There was a moment we just looked at each other when we were playing, and there was a connect. It didn't come easy. 6 months, imagine. And in between that, you have the fact that you have gained so much of weight and you're not looking nice. All that affects you, and you have this divorce that is happening, which is also taking a huge part of so much of stress on your head. Once that connect was established, right, with my son, then I know now how it feels when
Yes.
others say, I have this feeling whether is my son okay or not if I'm away. from him. Like how he said, वो बेचैनी होती है आपके दिल में कि क्या वो ठीक है? Is he all right? So yes, now I feel that worry in my son that I want my is he all right? And I would say I lost my sense of purpose when we got separated. I completely lost my sense of purpose, and that was the turning point when I had to find my purpose.
Right.
And I made Adam, my son, my purpose. Things changed
Excellent.
from there.
Total
Things
3
changed.
degrees,
Yes,
360
yes,
degrees.
it did, because we need to understand one thing, David, that Adam is the most beautiful thing that happened to me. But it is also a daily reminder, every second reminding me of a relationship that's no longer there. But now the choice is mine. Do I want to dwell in that? Oh, my marriage failed. Oh, my life is over. Now this kid is also there. Or, no, here's my son. This is my purpose. I'm going to do everything in my capacity to give him a beautiful life. Yes, I wanted a complete family. Yes, I wanted all that. Did it happen? No. Life had other plans for me. No problem. Now, what do you do? And as a child, I always have this mentality or this attitude of troubleshooting. Okay, we have a problem. Fine. What's it? What's next? Change of purpose. Okay, made my son purpose. Now what's next? Okay, I need to get more financially stable. I need to make more money. I need to make more money because I should be capable to provide him. Now, not because my family are not supportive. They are happily supporting me. They are happily there to help me every possible way. But I want to take care of him. It's
Right.
my requirement. So then I started applying for jobs everywhere. I started applying for jobs any possible way. I'm like, no, I have to make money. I have to make more money. Because I'm like, school is not cheap. Nursery is not. If you want to put them, into good schools, good education, you want to send them to a good university, Ivy League or whatever. You need to have money. Money was a very, very important factor there. And I was like, okay. Then I started applying left, right, and center. So I think when you start focusing and narrowing yourself down. And when he became my goal, I became very driven. Trust me, I was not all driven. I was not ambitious. I was very happy with my life, doing my shows, having fun with my friends. Suddenly there was this fire to, excel in life.
Right.
Fire to make sure that, I can stand on my feet and I will raise this child in the best possible way I can. And you can't do it alone. You need God's grace, you need your family support, you need your friends and everyone. And from there, I got a new job. That's where I'm currently working with. And, and then I started today, I have an amazing bond with my son. If I show you
Right.
some of our silly videos that we do, you should even see the way we converse with each other. We have an amazing bond, which I'm really, really proud of. Then coming to my marriage at that same time, when I was going through this divorce, there was a lot of anger. I was angry. I was really, really angry. But yeah, today it's all, kept aside, David, and I'm happy. In fact, I'm very, very happy with my life and with the bond I share with my son. And you do need people when you're lost and when you fall down to teach you to walk again, teach you to believe in yourself again, tell you that it's okay what's happened. You will get out of this. Don't worry. We need people to dust us off, tell us it's okay, pat on us, and say, come on, let's walk. Let's do it all over again, all over again. So we do need.
Do you know something? In that journey, you touched on finding purpose through your son.
Sorry?
Finding your purpose through your son. That particular moment. Now, I also, knowing you so well, I also want you to share, if you can, if it's not hurtful, the concept of forgiving and the time that happened for you that you're able to turn the whole scenario around with your son and your past husband.
So it wasn't easy. I've heard a million motivational speaks and podcasts, and I've prayed. I've done all the possible. Go to healers, talk, hear them out. But when the moment arrives, like when you need to go to the court, or all those old emotions are surfacing up, resurfacing again, and here
Yes.
again that anger comes and the vengeance come, and you want to, you want to crush that person who's done this to you, because you can't undo it. We all wish there was a control Z key in our life so we could just undo certain experiences. Yeah,
Right.
and it would all come. But you know what happened, David? I'll tell you. This is a very very sweet and very a story that's very close to my heart. Adam was born on the first day of Ramadan, in the year 2015, and 3 years later, when our divorce came through, and I still remember. So I have this habit of talking to God. Whenever I'm in the car, that's my time with God. I talk to Him. I just look into the sky and I just keep talking to Him. People will think I'm mad or something, but I'll just pour my heart out. So I still remember while I was driving to the port and I was telling God, I was fasting. I was like, why do I have to meet this man today itself, God? I mean, it's our first day of Ramadan. I really don't want to meet him today and spoil and my first day of Ramadan. I'm like, I don't know, why do you do this to me? And I go, and I park my car, and we're sitting in the room, and we're facing each other. The judgment is being printed, and for some reason from inside my heart, I was it was constantly the inner voice saying, tell him Adam is fine, tell him Adam is fine. There's another voice there, but he's not asked all these 3 years, why should you tell him, let him sit there only. But the voice inside me was getting so strong. It's like, no, tell him Adam is fine, tell him. And I said, Adam is fine. He looks at me. This is we're having a conversation after like long. Otherwise, we'll just look at each other and be like, we'll just do all that. So I said, Adam is fine. He's doing okay, and he's 3. And suddenly, I saw my ex-husband's facial expression change. It was as if he realized that, oh my God, he's 3. He had that expression, like and he said that, like, he's 3. I said, yes, it's been 3 years since we are fighting this court case, and would you like to see him? And I showed him a picture. Like, yeah, and I showed him a picture. Now, what happened to me at that moment, David? I suddenly started feeling very light, as if the burden inside my heart was just reducing and reducing and and I was asking, okay, how are your parents? How's your sister? And he was also replying back very nicely. By the time we ended, right, the paper was printed and they gave us the judgment, the verdict, and everything. I It was like still water after a stormy weather. All that
Yep.
anger I had, that I wanted to just kill him or tear him, and I want to ruin his life, all that frustration that I had, suddenly I was calm. I was very calm and I was very happy. And then he asked me a question. He said, I've not met our son. Can you help me connect with him? And then I said, oh my God. Now that was like coming full circle, because I know what that feeling was when you're not able to connect to your child. And I felt that's why God tested me also in a way that here's a chance. If I want, I can do it the other way. I'm like, no, why should I? It's your thing. You can do it that way. But I felt no. Because mom would always say that you can never, ever find peace by doing bad. You might get that momentary pleasure. See, that person is suffering. But you'll always win through kindness. And that's what I understood. That when I kept on hearing forgive, 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 the way to forgive, nobody would tell me. They would just say, okay, forgive. All the podcasts and all this, they said, you should forgive, you should try to forgive, you should try to forget. But the way, how do you forgive? How do
It's
you
not
get
true.
there? It is by kindness. You have to be kind. And the moment you're kind, somehow you're being kind to the person whom you really don't like. but you are
Right.
feeling it. You're feeling much better. You're
Right.
feeling good inside. I found that closure finally, that I could park my divorce, my marriage, and all that bad memories, whatever I was holding on to from so long, and say, everything is fine now.
Yeah.
And I was able to, I said, fair enough. Please, I was like, yeah, sure, why not? You are the father. Not that nothing under the sun is going to change that. I will definitely help you. You will always be loved and respected as Adam's father. Our differences are differences. Keep that aside. And there we reconnected with a very good purpose, that is Adam. I said, Adam should be loved and respected wherever he goes. Even tomorrow when you move on with your life or whatever it is, he should be loved and respected. He's like done. I said, we are never going to show our differences or probably our anger, if we do have anything, towards a child by saying, oh, your mom's like that or your dad's like this. And he's like, done. And today, Adam is 5. And I would say I'm very proud, David, that we have a very civil relationship where we have the best interest for our child. Okay. We've parked everything else behind. And I am more hopeful in life. I,
Right.
I want to fall in love once again. I believe
Mm.
that good things will happen again because
Mm.
I found that closure. you
Mm.
know Life is once again beautiful for me. It wasn't an easy journey. 3 years is a lot to take from your life. 3 years, I
Yes.
went through a lot, revisiting the same incident again and again and again. But finally, when I got that closure I wanted, and that is all because of, if you be kind, you have to love, and you have to let go and accept it, and then things will just suddenly, everything will become very quiet.
What a beautiful. I just want to make this comment, and I really, really appreciate and thank you for being so open and transparent. As an internally beautiful lady, and externally also a beautiful lady. I really thank you, because the audience would have picked up so much from that segment, especially relationships. Thank you so much for that. Really
Thank you.
appreciate.
If I can at least, even if it's just one person, if they're
Mm.
able to understand or get touched or take away something good for themselves,
Mm.
I would feel that we've really done a great job.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
intent I had when I wanted to start this interview with you. There's just one
Right.
person also. That's
Right.
enough for me.
Right. Now we're getting close to the close time now. I would like to sort of sum up the whole thing. If you can just capsule within a minute, uh, points and takeaways that they can utilize when they leave this interview or discourse. Can you just summarize that very quickly? 3 or 4
Yeah.
key points.
Key points would be, David, starting from what my mom told me when I got my first
Yes.
kissing mail. I would
Mm-hmm.
say that it's okay if people don't believe in you, but you should believe in yourself. If
Yes.
you, just because nobody has done it doesn't mean it can't be done. Walk that
Yes.
path. Walk that
Mm.
path with grace, with dignity, and show people how it's be done.
Right.
Secondly, you will get you will have people who will try to discourage you, who will say that's their opinion, and that's all right. It's okay. And mostly it'll be the near and dear ones because they have more access towards you. They might say, oh, you have crossed your age to pursue your passion, or you think now you should try to do it. If you want to do it, just do it.
Mm.
It's okay if people laugh at you, no problem. At least you made somebody's day. Never
Exactly.
second guess yourself. You
Mm.
get an opportunity, show up. Pray to God that everything goes well. Just do what you believe and what you love in the most. There are times when you can be, even now I go through low times when you can be confused, you can be lost, you can not know what tomorrow holds. Will this really branch out to the dream that I want to? Please don't think all that. I would say just take it one step at a time. You love something, continue moving forward. Keep that as a statement. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Just keep telling yourself that, because you never know which opportunity would be the one that would
That's
give
very
you
true.
that biggest break, that would click and be that moment that you've been waiting for all your life. Never
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
And at last, yes, if any time you fall down, when life slaps you really hard, you know, just hold on to those friends who will dust you, be that anchor for you, hear you out, see that most ugliest side of you probably, and still love you. Because when you are 80, I always tell myself this, when you're 80 and you're sitting on your armchair, you don't want to think, oh, I could have gone for that acting class. I should have gone for that audition for that singing. I should have tried skydiving. You should be like, man, I've got all these wrinkles on my face. Every wrinkle will tell you a
Because,
story. Every wrinkle
yes,
has a tale. My stretch marks, I have a beautiful story to tell you. Look at my flourishing, beautiful children. Let every scar be a story to touch people's lives.
fabulous. What an outlook to life. I love it. And actually, it was a great privilege and pleasure for me to have met you 2.5 years ago, at that hotel. It's been great time. Once again, thank you so much for coming aboard and spending your precious time, taking the time off, and especially time off from the family. Truly appreciate it. Have a very good fast period during Ramadan, and then when it comes to Ramzan, please have we call it in Malaysia Hari Raya puasa.
Okay, thank you so much, David. It's so sweet of you to call me on your show. It's been an honor. Thank you so much, and we'll always be connected. So
I'm
thank you so
sure
much.
there's so much to do again. Yeah, take
Take
care
care.
now.
Take
Ciao.
care, self.
Take care. Bye
Take care.
bye.
Bye. Bye. See you.